Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a Palkia team, so we're playing a couple of more games with it today. Once again, huge thank you to bwenty for the team. You can find him linked down in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste for the team. There were some audio issues in yesterday's episode, so I apologize for the staticky noises that you may have heard throughout. Hopefully it's fixed today. I'm obviously recording this. I'm going to take a look afterwards. I did a test recording beforehand and it seemed okay, but I wasn't 100% sure what was causing it yesterday, so we'll see. Either way, thanks as always for supporting Road to Ranked, and let's just jump into today's episode. So we got Calyrex-I for the first game today. It's classic MImikyu plus Calyrex-I. You know, we had just featured this combination on the channel. It's obviously very strong. Metagross is actually quite decent here, but has to worry about a couple things. Will-O-Wisp from MImikyu, as well as Urshifu's Wicked Blow. But Metagross does match up really nicely into Calyrex-I, so that is a upside for us. If you want to guarantee Trick Room here, you'd have to lead Incineroar plus the MImikyu. I don't have Taunt here. Incin plus MImikyu. How do we counter that? Palkia is interesting here. It's not bad, but it's not amazing either. So once again, I feel like I probably want to Dynamax the Metagross and then use Palkia in the late game. I could probably get away with leading Incin here ourselves, right? Tornadus is just so useless past turn 1. Plus, if you're my opponent and you lead Incin MImikyu, you can just fake out Tornadus. Although I guess I could lead Thundurus, because if you lead Incineroar, you would give us a Defiant boost, and that would be kind of nice. So Thundurus plus Metagross is actually kind of interesting. And then I think I could bring my own Porygon here. That actually might have been the better idea, but I'm going to bring Palkia and Incin in the back. The idea here is that I don't think you can guarantee Trick Room unless you lead Incineroar MImikyu, because they don't have like redirection support, right? So without redirection support, we can at least try to force them to not set up Trick Room, because Trick Room is kind of scary here. So let's get into it. Question of the day today, I want to know what your favorite type in Pokemon is, just in general or competitively. My answer would definitely have to be water type, I think. I've always had a lot of affinity, especially for like the water type starters, so yeah. They're going to go with the Regieleki and the Tapu Fini. Okay, how do we feel about this? It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I think Fini is not a fun Pokemon to go up against when you're running Palkia, but that's okay. So Lucky can Volt Switch. You're not going to Electro Web here because you don't want to activate Defiance. They don't have Electric Resists, though, other than the Aleki lets out on the field. So I could theoretically Dynamax. Knuckle would be kind of cool here. I just think, like, would you really stay in and attack with Fini right now? I would think you'd either protect or switch out. So I kind of want to max and Knuckle into the Aleki and Stomping Tantrum into it. Yeah. Because I think Fini is in kind of an exposed spot right now. We didn't really bring Thundurus yesterday. Okay, they're going to stay in with both Pokemon. So hopefully it's Fini protecting. If it doesn't, that could be a little bit awkward. Because I guess theoretically my opponent could double up onto Metagross with like a Thunderbolt plus a Muddy Water. But the thing is, if we can knock out the Aleki turn 1 and get an attack boost onto both of these, we have so much offense going into the next turn. Okay, Fini protects. That's brilliant. So this is good. Maybe Volt Switch here? No, they just T-Bolt. Okay. I'm more than okay with that. That did a lot of damage, but yeah, this is great because we'll get a KO here and we'll have an attack boost on both of these physical attackers. So once again, even though this team features Palkia, Palkia is not the only carry because there are a lot of Pokemon that actually threaten Palkia. Fini just defensively matches up really well into Palkia, right? Your best move from Palkia is to Max Quake it, and Fini's so specially defensive that it can just stall out your Dynamax really, really well. When playing in the Series 8 especially, you always have to consider, like, how can my opponent stall out my Dynamax? And one of the answers often is basically what just happened. Okay, they bring out Urshifu. I mean, the thing is, I can just Airstream here and Rock Slide, to be honest. They didn't go with MImikyu Calyrex, which is really surprising to me. Your Sucker Punch won't KO us, and after Airstream, we'll outspeed you, so then we can just KO you even if you have Focus Sash. And they just Sucker Punch Thundurus. Okay, that's fine by me. I feel like we kind of just win the game now. And they're not even... Is that Banded? I honestly kind of wanted to think it was Banded Urshifu and then Specs Aleki. But I'm not 100% sure. But either way, now if your last one is Calyrex, like Metagross just wins, right? We missed Rock Slide, but that's okay. Could be a little bit scary. Okay, they Calm Mind though. That's fine. That's not really a threat to us at all. Because we have +1 Thundurus right now, so things are looking really good. I think if we... I went for Rock Slide there, by the way, because I wanted to cover for Urshifu having Focus Sash and get damage on a Fini, but Iron Head might have been more consistent onto the Urshifu anyway, because if I missed Urshifu and it were Focus Sash and they Wicked Blow into Metagross, that actually would have kind of been a disaster, to be honest. Okay, so their last one's Calyrex, which obviously isn't surprising here. They have Calm Mind on Fini, but that's not really too much of a problem. I don't think you'll KO either of us right now anyway. So I honestly lean towards Lightning onto Calyrex. Oh wait, we have Max Darkness. That's super effective. Yeah, I think it's fine to just Max Darkness here and Iron Head into the Calyrex. I guess Fini's a little bit scary, but we outspeed with all of our Pokemon right now. Fini is very good against Incineroar and the Palkia in the back, so that's something still to consider. But I think things are looking pretty good right now. Had I hit that Rock Slide, then Fini would be in KO range from like an Iron Head. But it's still okay. I think worst case scenario here is what? Calyrex max cards. I don't want Trick Room to go up, which is why I'm doubling up on a Calyrex. But I think Calyrex maxing here makes obviously a lot of sense. It's just a question of whether or not you go for like max card or not. Yep, so they max. The thing is, I could have just gone max Lightning into Fini, Iron Head into Calyrex, but then I am afraid I actually don't have enough damage output. Whereas here, you don't even threaten the Thundurus with a KO because we're Assault Vest, even though you're at +1, I think. Nice, and they protect Fini. Okay, perfect. I mean, this game honestly couldn't have gone any better. I don't know if this double up KOs Calyrex, though, so let's see. We are +1 attack with both of these. Wow, that is so bulky. What? Okay. I have to say, I didn't expect it to be that tanky. Interesting. So I've activated Weakness Policy, but I think it's still fine. I'm just pretty impressed by its bulk there. +1 Iron Head's definitely not going to KO here either, but that's a lot of damage. And the main thing here is that Metagross outspeeds, and they actually opt for Max Quake, which is fine. So they're going to target the Metagross here. Yep. Those give him a special defense boost, so I think my opponent can win if they get a double protect on Fini right now. So there is merit into debating whether or not we go for a... We have +1 Wild Charge right now, which is obviously good, right? The other question is how fast your Calyrex is, because Instant might just outspeed and KO with the Flare Blitz. I think it is probably better to bring Instant out, and then we can just Flare Blitz Wild Charge. This is a Trick Room team. I don't think Calyrex is going to be speedy. Yeah, so let's just bring Incineroar out. I have to say, I didn't think Calyrex would take the Max Darkness as well as it did. I thought I'd do a little bit more there. Was Palkia better to bring out first? I like Palkia in the late game, because if we can somehow stall out the Dynamax... Well, the thing is... I get the Intimidate, but the Intimidate doesn't really matter, because with Weakness Policy, Calyrex is KOing everything anyway. So here I just want to Wild Charge into Tapu Fini and then Flare Blitz into the Calyrex. Because I think we should outspeed. I guess the problem is if Fini one-shots us with Muddy Water onto Incin now, because it has a special attack boost, and Wild Charge doesn't KO the Tapu Fini because we don't have a Life Orb. That could be scary. But I could also see them going for a double protect. Yeah. Either way, like, this is scary, right? Because I feel like the game has gone as well as it really could have. We read into pretty much every protect on Fini, and it's still scary just because Calyrex Ice is so bulky. That's why Calyrex Ice is one of the best options in the format right now. Okay, they just offer the double protect and don't get it, so I think we should win the game off that. Let's see if +1 Wild Charge is enough to KO. Okay, it was. So given that it was enough to KO, then I think Wild Charge plus Flare Blitz this turn was definitely the right play. No need to go for like a Fake Out or anything. Thundurus hangs on too, which should ensure us the game, and yep, Incineroar is faster here in the end. So even if they got the double protect off, Flare Blitz would have just KO'd Calyrex. So yeah, unfortunately, Palkia does not come out in this first game, but I think if anything, this game can show how you don't necessarily need to use a restricted Pokemon to win, right? We literally did not bring our restricted Pokemon, and we won solely off Thundurus, Metagross, and Incineroar. And once again, had we brought Palkia out in this game, like let's say we lead it, Fini just counters it a fair amount, especially with Calm Mind, and presumably as Moonblast as well. So, once again, one thing that's really important in Series 8 is to not just force and bring your restricted Pokemon out in every game. Identify the matchups where it's good, and then also identify the matchups where it's not necessarily good. And once again, that's how you can construct a good team in Series 8, right? If your other options, if you have more than one Dynamax option, for example, and those Dynamax options can cover for your weakness. So, yeah. Okay, we got Classic Zacian Lapras here. Dragapult's definitely not bad. Or sorry, Palkia's definitely not bad. The Tornadus Metagross is also really solid. I mean, Metagross is really good into Lapras and Zacian here, I would say. They do have Fake Out. So I have to watch out for that. I'm thinking, once again, it's regular Palkia. Mainly because it's Zacian, right? And this is exactly why Palkia kind of isn't the strongest pick in Series A, because there are a fair amount of Pokemon that give it trouble, right? Fairy types in general are really tough. We just ran up against Fini. There's a Zacian here. Those are two of the most common Pokemon in the format. I think I'm just going to go with Tornadus Metagross here and then Incin Palkia. We went with this mode a lot yesterday, but that last game was a great demonstration of how good Thundurus can be. One of the reasons why this team is cool is because often, in order to stop Tornadus from setting up, like either Brutal Swing or Tailwind, you're going to want to bring a Fake Out user. What's the most common Fake Out user in the format? It's Incineroar. But with Thundurus on this team, players are a little bit more scared to actually bring out that Incineroar as a lead, because often if you give Thundurus a Defiant boost right from turn 1, it just makes the game so much harder, right? So that's an element of team building that, you know, I haven't talked about too much, but the idea of just having something in team preview to dissuade your opponent from bringing their threats, right? Even if I don't bring Thundurus here, just having it in team preview means my opponent has to think twice about leading Incineroar. That doesn't mean that they, you know, can't lead Incineroar, but it's just a calculated risk that you have to be willing to take, and it makes the game harder right from turn 0, basically, before the game even starts. So that's one element of team building that can be really interesting, the idea of having something just to scare something out. It's going to be Dragapult and Amoonguss. Okay, this is definitely pretty scary, because I can't just Brutal Swing. I guess I can if I survive a Phantasm, actually. I feel like I should survive Phantasm, right? So I actually, well, I wouldn't even need to, the reason to Brutal Swing then would to actually be to break Sash on Amoonguss. Because what I'm thinking here is we can just Brutal Swing, Steel Spike into Amoonguss, we survive Life Orb Phantasm on Metagross, and then I can just Tailwind the subsequent turn. That actually doesn't seem terrible. So yeah, and I want to cover for Focus Sash Amoonguss here, so. And the Metagross is EV to, I actually misspoke yesterday, because for some reason I thought Dragapult hit 223 speed, not 213, so I was looking, oh, it's going to be Will-O-Wisp, I think. I should have considered support Dragapult more. I mean, obviously it'd be great if it's not support Dragapult, but I think if you're making this play, it also could be Dragon Dance, actually. Although I guess Dragon Dance isn't that scary if I end up getting a defense boost onto Metagross, because it just negates the attack boost more or less. Yeah, Rage Powder. Rage Powder, okay, you know what? At least it's Rage Powder and not like, it is Dragon Dance. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so now you outspeed Metagross, but I have a defense boost on both of these, so I think I can still just Tailwind next turn and Steel Spike. And sorry, wow, okay, I mean, Brutal Swing actually does a lot there, which is nice. What I meant to say earlier is that, yesterday I misspoke. For some reason I didn't think the Zacian we were going up against was max speed, but it indeed was, and the reason I didn't think that was because I thought the Dragapult hits 223 speed rather than 213, and I was like, oh, Zacian's base speed is faster than Dragapult, Metagross is exactly enough to outspeed. I think it was 113 or 112 on this, so it hits 224, 226. So I was like, oh, if I'm just outspeeding Dragapult, I don't think I'm outspeeding Zacian, but that's because I misremembered Dragapult's base speed. So this Metagross spread is really cool. Once again, thank you to bwenty for it. There's a paste in the description below if you're interested in seeing it. They're just going to bring out Zacian. Okay, I mean, we can definitely Tailwind right now. I just, like, you could max Airstream with this thing. Having a defense boost is definitely good, though, right? So, like, I definitely want to Tailwind here, but Dragapult is really scary. What's their last one going to be? Incin or Landorus? Lapras actually makes the most sense. Actually would be very good against us here. Because, like, Dragapult's the main max threat, right? So I kind of want to just pick up a KO onto it and Steel Spike into it. But if you're my opponent, you can do what? Phantasm and Sacred Sword into Metagross? But then I can bring in Incineroar. I just think because Dragapult's definitely maxing, and with that speed boost, it'll outspeed me. I kind of need to respect it, because, yeah, they're going to Dynamax it here. So I think we should take a Life Orb Phantasm, and we outspeed Zacian. So if I'm trading Dragapult for Metagross this turn, that's totally fine. I think that's like worth it for us. The big question is what my opponent's last one is, because like regular Lapras actually makes a lot of sense here. But if it's Landorus or Incin, I'd feel a lot better, because then Palkia is in a really good late game situation. So we'll get Tailwind up. I don't know. I mean, Max Airstream Sacred Sword doesn't KO Metagross. The basic question here is whether or not it can survive the Phantasm here on Metagross. Nice. Oh my gosh. It took that with no problem, actually. Jeez. So maybe it's not Life Orb then, because, yeah, it's not. I was going to say, otherwise, if you're Life Orb, then you should KO. And Steel Spike KO is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So Palkia is definitely looking decent in the end game now, especially because I have Incineroar to Fake Out support and Intimidate. So, yeah, that was really good. They're just going to go for Behemoth Blade. Yeah, that's fine. Metagross should just win the game now, actually, because they're not going to KO Metagross with this, I don't think. Actually, maybe they do. I don't know. Never mind. This is exactly why Metagross is on the team, though, right? Zacian is one of the most common Pokemon in Series 8 right now, so if you're looking for a good counter into Zacian, you should consider Metagross. Lapras is my opponent's last one, but we should just win the game now through Air Slash into Lapras, Max Quake into into Zacian, because we outspeed. So, I love this Metagross. I think it's so good. And once again, it's good team construction, right? Because it's not just Tornadus Metagross, it's the fact that the team has Assault Vest Thunderous with Defiant Pressure. Zacian is going to protect, so we could have won the game with the Rockfall. Well, it doesn't matter. I think we're so far ahead that because we get a special defense boost here, and we have a potential to flinch Lapras, it's really hard for my opponent to come back. You would need to crit Metagross right now, basically. And even if you crit, I still have Palkia with Earth Power in the back, as well as Incineroar. So, this play was always just the safest. You never want to give Zacian a potential to substitute, especially. So, yeah, because I know I get the special defense boost on Metagross, there's no need to target the Lapras. Metagross is still obviously scarier. And, Zacian. Yesterday I read a comment in there like, dude, you literally mix up your Pokemon's name in, like, every episode. And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, we still have 2 turns of Tailwind left, so I think it's fine to just Air Slash Lapras here and Stomping Tantrum. And so, yeah, this Metagross spread, incredible. I think it really just showed how good it was in this game, right? The fact that we could do so much damage and outspeed Zacian and Dragapult is really, really important. So, yeah, I mean, today's episode's interesting. We are actually not even using any restricted Pokemon to win. And so, you can see how the core of this team is so strong that I didn't necessarily need Palkia, right? But once again, if I get baited into bringing Palkia into these games, like, what do I really do, right? There's just no point. Sorry, not no point, but, like, let's say I brought Palkia as a lead into Dragapult plus Amoonguss, and they're just going to Rage Powder Dragon Dance, and then I just get completely swept, right? Palkia is just not a good max option there, nor can it really put on that much pressure against Amoonguss. So, I'll bring out Incin here first. We can just fake out Air Slash, and then if they protect, then just Tailwind the next turn. Tailwind Flare Blitz. Yeah. They should protect here, I guess. There's no reason not to. But there's also no reason to not fake out an Air Slash here, so. I think the last 2 games have really been one-off, like, really strong leads. But I'm happy to have these games because I do think it's important to highlight how, like, you know, Series 8's obviously a format with restricted Pokemon, but there are a lot of strong Pokemon that can stand up to these restricted Pokemon. And so when you're team building, obviously you want to build around your restricted Pokemon, you know, support it as much as possible. But in that support, it's important to have offensive tools that can beat Pokemon that threaten you otherwise. So, yeah. Porygon's interesting. We haven't really brought it out, and I think the main thing is I feel weird about it because I don't necessarily want to set up Trick Room with it because this team is relatively speedy, but I also, like, you know, you can bring it to reverse your opponent's Trick Rooms, and I haven't done that yet, but my goal is typically to just deny my opponent's Trick Rooms. This team is awesome, by the way. Galarian, Zapdos, Reshiram, MImikyu, and Blastoise. A lot of cool stuff here. Okay, it's definitely not bad for Palkia. I feel like I've said that the last 2 games, and then it hasn't even come out. So, they have their own Tailwind. They can taunt with Whimsicott. That's scary. Reshiram's definitely very scary into Metagross. And this is, like, they also have their Defiant user, so I can't just freely lead Incineroar. Because, like, Whimsicott plus Galarian Zapdos, definitely a possible lead from their end. That'd be really scary, especially if you can just taunt into Tornadus. So we don't have Mentorb here, which is kind of a bummer. Taking Thunderous Palkia? It's kind of weird. I still need Incineroar, I think, because of Ferrothorn. I mean, maybe we just go with Tornadus. Okay, Tornadus, Thunderous, Palkia, Incin. I'm going to play flexible going into this game. I don't know who I want to Dynamax. Yeah, it could be Thunderous, it could be Palkia, but it's going to be based off the lead matchup here. But the idea behind this lead matchup, I don't want to lead Incineroar, because if I lead it into Galarian Zapdos, that's a disaster for us. Now, once again, my opponent maybe doesn't even bring Galarian Zapdos, but it's the risk versus reward, right? The risk is just so high, and the reward would only be a fake out onto Whimsicott, and I don't think that's worth it. They're going to go with Whimsicott and Reshiram. Okay. Well, we're Assault Vest on the Thunderous here, so that's obviously good. The question here is, if you're my opponent, do you taunt, do you Tailwind turn 1? Actually, regardless, because we have Focus Sash on Tornadus, I think our best play is to just Dynamax here with Thunderous and Max Airstream into Whimsicott. So a double up onto Whimsicott ensures that we KO it. If you Tailwind here, Reshiram's not knocking out either Pokemon, and then Tornadus can Tailwind the next turn. If you taunt into Tornadus, then I just KO Whimsicott. Maybe you Max Flare into Tornadus or into Thunderous, but then I can just Tailwind the subsequent turn. So, yeah, this is actually great for us, I think. Oh, this is even better. They switch out, too. Wow. Into Zapdos. Okay, great. It's so funny seeing double Genie lead after playing so much of it in VGC 2011. My VGC 2011 team had Thunderous and Tornadus. But back then, Thunderous... Oh, actually, Thunderous was offensive in 2011. I might make a video on this one day, but Ray Rizzo revolutionized the game. Like, he honestly changed how VGC was approached, I feel like, when he won Worlds with bulky Thunderous, because just no one was using that, like, ever. Whimsicott's not taunting or tailwinding, which is shocking to me. So I could see it maybe going for a Trick Room here. Or a Moonblast, I guess, but I'm really surprised to not see any priority attack come out here, because I feel like we just had such a good lead matchup, as long as we don't miss Air Slash. Okay, there was an argument to make with Brutal Swing there over Air Slash, because if we miss Air Slash and Trick Room goes up there, it's actually a disaster for us. So I think Brutal Swing was actually the better play there, because I do so little damage into my Thunderous that, like, yeah, I think Brutal Swing was better. And you might be wondering, right? Like, who cares? It's a 5% difference. But that's what you have to do on a very high level of VGC. You want to optimize your odds as much as possible, especially because when you're playing in a tournament, or let's say a long laddering session, you have so many games, right? It's over a long period of time. So you want to find your best possible plays over that period of time. I think I should Tailwind. Well, actually, I mean, we're in really good shape right now. They don't have a Flying Resist, and we have the Assault Vest onto Thunderous. And I've got Palkia on the back. All of those are good things for us. I think it's better to Tailwind just to ensure that we outspeed, though, going into the future. And I'm just going to launch a... Is it better to Lightning or Airstream? We don't really get anything out of Electric Terrain anyway, and they could switch Zapdos out into Ferrothorn, so I'm just going to Airstream into it. They might Protect here. I think Reshiram probably maxes, but... Tailwind plus Airstream is really safe because I have Life Orb Palkia in the back, right, which can just Spatial Rend into Reshiram. So I'm not really that worried about Reshiram. So, yep, Reshiram's gonna max. Pretty cool to see that. But the thing is, even if you Protect... I wanted to ensure... Actually, I really don't think I needed to Tailwind here. Because unless you max Zapdos and then you double up onto Tornadus... Well, I guess that's actually a slight possibility. This should KO, right? Nice. Alright, today is the Thunderous train. Once again, we're not bringing our restricted mons. Although, once again, Palkia's really good. However, I think the weakness with Palkia is that a lot of times I don't feel comfortable leading it, right? Because a lot of the teams we're going up against just have pretty good answers against it in the early game. So they're going to Flare into Thunderous. That's totally fine. Another Flare will KO us, but we have Palkia in the back. I'm just worried about Trick Room going up now because I don't have Taunt. And if you have Mimikyu as your last one, that actually could be a problem. But it's Blastoise. Okay, nice. Palkia should win this endgame for us now, I think. That's good to see. +2 speed with both of these. Just Air Slash here into Reshiram. I think I actually like Max Darkness the most here just to get a special defense drop. And I'm actually going to Max Darkness into Blastoise. Because Reshiram theoretically could Max Guard in this position. But they don't, which is fine. Because the thing is, as soon as I get a special defense drop, like, how is my opponent beating Palkia in the end game? I just don't think they are, right? I guess I could have just Max Lightning into Blastoise for a one-shot there. You know what? That's probably the better play. Just get the KO and then make it a 4v1 or a 3v1 after Thunderous faints here. It's White Herb? Ah, switch Cell Smash probably. Interesting. Okay. So it should be Flare here into Thunderous. Yep. That's fine. Oh my gosh, Thunderous even hangs on. Assault Vest Thunderous is just so good. Yeah, that's huge. So let's see. Palkia's definitely going to win the game now against Reshiram. I think in this match we actually did need Palkia because if I had like Metagross or Porygon in the back, Reshiram could theoretically win. But now with the special defense drop, we know this is White Herb, so it's likely Fake Out, Shell Smash, Water Spout, and you know, an Ice type attack. So I don't think it's going to carry Protect in this position. So I think here it's fine to just Air Slash. Actually, let's just ensure we still have 2 turns of Tailwind left. So I think we can Protect here and then Wild Charge into Blastoise. What this allows us to do is go up. I think Max Lightning into Blastoise last turn is probably the better play, but I was worried about Blastoise potentially protecting, and then because we have such a big lead at this point in the game anyway, like just a single special defense drop should mean that Palkia will win the game. There's no way Blastoise is beating Palkia, right? So I figured there, in the off chance that you max guard with the Reshiram, I want to play towards that. So yeah. The Protect here, by the way, is just so that I ensure that I'm going to go for Flare, yeah. I ensure that I outspeed the Reshiram again, because now what I can do is bring out Incineroar. I can Fake Out, Air Slash, and then Tailwind. Or actually, I don't even need to bring out Incineroar. I just go out into Palkia right now, right? Yeah, because I can just Spatial Rend Air Slash if you Protect, then I just Tailwind. So, Palkia finally comes out. I honestly think we could have maybe won the game without Palkia, like if I just bring Incin here, Fake Out, Air Slash. But Palkia just accelerates the battle, and we can play a 4th game here, so yeah. But once again, I think today's episode highlights you don't necessarily need your restricted Pokemon if the rest of your team supports it well. So let's just ensure that Tailwind is up. You want to double check these things because this Palkia is not max speed, so Reshiram could actually outspeed us. We can actually miss Spatial Rend, so it's better to Air Slash, I think, in this position. Or sorry, High Horsepower. Alright, they just end up forfeiting, so. Poor Palkia has not gotten a single attack off today. It's just not getting to play the game. But, yeah. I mean, Thunderous and Metagross were amazing for us, and once again, I think that we've won all 3 games off having strong lead matchups. Our opponents just really didn't have too many options right from the start, so, yeah. You know, it's both a good thing and a bad thing. I'd obviously love to just feature sweeps with Palkia over and over and over again. But once again, there's an element of team preview, right? You can see how my opponents are bringing counters to Palkia, and as a result, Palkia can really thrive off that chaos as my opponents are forced to bring answers into it. So this is a classic Rain team. Okay, like, I mean, there's really nothing that matches up well against Palkia here, so I think we're definitely... In fact, I think it's just a great game to Dynamax it. Okay. Definitely want to max it. I could see Kyogre plus Tornadus as a lead. We could just go Palkia Tornadus here. My only fear is if they lead the Raichu and then I have Nuzzle. But I think it's definitely Tornadus, Thunderous, Palkia, Incineroar. I just don't know in what combination of 4. I don't like Metagross here into Kyogre, Moltres, and Incin. It's actually not terrible, though. I think in a best of 3, you can make a very good argument for Metagross, because especially because this Metagross set has access to Max Rockfall. So, it's not a bad bring at all. But I feel a little bit more comfortable going with Palkia in this game. I just don't know what the lead here is. Maybe it's Thunderous Tornadus with Palkia in the back. Thunderous is also really good here. Yeah, this just covers for the Fake Out shenanigans, and I think if Palkia gets nuzzled by Raichu, it's really bad. So, while I'd like to play aggressively with Palkia, the thing is, I think when my opponent sees this team, they expect Palkia to come out as the Dynamax option. So, let's see if Palkia can do a little bit more here. Because we haven't used a restricted mod to win yet. I guess the last one, Palkia would have closed out the game, but yeah. I think in all 3 games, you know, Palkia was late game insurance, but we just actually built upon our lead so much that it just was, we didn't need it in the end. Which is always a good thing, right? They are going to go with Tornadus Raichu. Okay, that's why I wanted to cover for, like, this is why I didn't want to lead Palkia. Because I think what I can do here, turn 1, is protect the Air Balloon. Interesting. Okay. Is protect Tornadus here? Well, okay, then here's the fear. You're probably Sash on Tornadus because you're not Sash on Raichu. Can't KO here. What does protecting actually accomplish? I'm just nervous they taunt me next turn. No, protecting doesn't... Well, it conserves my Focus Sash. I think I will Tailwind here. Okay, I'm actually... I don't think this was my best play turn 1, but I didn't know what was. Unless Max Airstream one-shots Tornadus, but I think Tornadus is definitely going to be sashed here anyway. I don't like this play for a bunch of reasons. One, my Dynamax usage isn't very good because I'm actually not getting that much out of it. My opponent has a more passive lead, right? I'm not taking any damage this turn. The problem, if Raichu were on the field, I'll definitely just Wild Charge, but the reality is that Raichu is on the field. Yep, so there's Fake Out. What do they opt for here? Yeah, they Tailwind. This is going to be interesting. The thing is, Palkia is very good into Kyogre, right? It's very good into Kyogre. Max Airstream does not KO Tornadus. That's fine. I can protect Tornadus Max Airstream here, so, and then just Tailwind of my own the next turn. I actually think that's definitely the best play. Yeah. So let's just protect here. We could actually Max Knuckle. I would think that would KO, right? Yeah, actually Protect Knuckle is better here, because then I have +1 Thundurus going into the next turn. And then I can Tailwind. Yeah, I like that. I don't think I need a Speed Boost right now. I just want to... Protect is big for us here, because it means we don't get KO'd by Raichu, and it means you can't taunt us with Tornadus. So, I think this is fine. Okay, let's say I brought Palkia in this game. What I was nervous about was both of us Tailwinding and then Raichu just nuzzles into Palkia. Because if Palkia maxes and gets paralyzed, then my opponent consistently outspeeds me, which doesn't seem great. But I think Protect is really valuable for our Tornadus on this turn, and that's why I really like it. Yep, there's the taunt. Perfect. Could be Volt Switch, maybe. Yeah. Would have been really sick if I targeted the Raichu slot, because I think here you go into Kyogre, but the thing is, then I knock out your Tornadus, and then I can just Tailwind, and I have an attack boost as well. The question is, who do I want to target? Because I think with the Assault Vest, this Thundurus should survive an attack from Kyogre, even if you max Hailstorm or Geyser. And you have like a water type attacking item. So, let's see. I do think the upside of today's matchup is that we had a better lead in all of the games. But I don't... My play this game was... It ended up being okay, I guess. Yeah, it was fine, I guess. I was just debating, like, do I want to protect Tornadus? Is there any merit in doing that? But in the end, I don't think it actually would have made much of a difference, and we had a pretty good outcome. Although, you shouldn't analyze your results solely off the outcome, because you should consider all the other possibilities that could happen. But I think in that position, Fake Out Tailwind's always the safest play on my opponent's end. So the Protect here is a really big deal, because, yeah, once again, I think most people just don't expect Protect. Oh, but I guess you bring out Raichu now. That was a really good Volt Switch. Yeah, you can bring out Raichu now. You can just Fake Out into the Tornadus slot. So it actually might be appropriate to switch out the Tornadus. And that would have been a reason to max Airstream here. My question is whether or not +1 max Knuckle KOs the Raichu. I also can't protect. Yeah, Raichu just goes for Fake Out now, so they're going to deny me Tailwind. I think we should switch Tornadus out into Incineroar. The only problem is that I think Kartana is my opponent's last one. So am I comfortable giving up Incineroar, knowing that Kartana is going to be in the back? I might have to be willing to do it. I could switch into Palkia, but it still takes a lot, especially... Actually, maybe Palkia is the switch in here. It's 2 turns of Tailwind. If I go for another Airstream... onto Kyogre... Alright, yeah, I'm actually going to go into Palkia here. And Airstream into the Kyogre slot. Because I just think Kartana has to be my opponent's last one, and I really don't like giving Incineroar. Because if I can knock out Kyogre, Incin actually wins against Raichu plus Kartana. Not single-handedly, right? But it just does so well into that. And I'm guessing you just Fake Out Water Spout in this position. So, yeah, okay. Nice. Using Palkia defensively here, but we'll take that. And we get a +1 max Airstream off into Kyogre, which is great. Now, this is actually really good, especially because... Wow, that actually almost one-shots Kyogre. Especially because I think my opponent's last one is going to be that Kartana, but Now I have Incineroar. So, yeah, I'm glad I switched in Palkia there. Okay. Let's see. So, Tailwind is over. No, sorry, Tailwind's not over, but there's still one more turn. But we have Assault Vest on Thundurus, so we should outspeed Kyogre. So, I think here I'm actually content to just Hydro Pump into the Raichu. Well, actually, Spatial Wrench at KO, and has higher accuracy. So, we can just crunch here into Kyogre, I think. Because we should survive a T-Bolt on Thundurus right now. We're at +2 speed, so we should outspeed Kyogre. So, yeah. Once again, Assault Vest Thundurus proves how good it is. Poor Palkia, though. Although, it was really important in this match just as a switch-in. Okay, they don't even protect, so we'll get a KO onto Kyogre, which is great. Was it better to Superpower Raichu there? Eerie Impulse, okay. That's good. I bet Hydro Pump would have KO'd in Rain even with Eerie Impulse, but Spatial Rain does have a higher crit chance, and Palkia finally gets to attack, so I'm sure it's happy about that. Yeah, it's not enough for a KO. Hydro Pump definitely would have been enough. I didn't want to risk the miss, but I didn't think about Eerie Impulse, so that was a nice play. I think we're looking pretty good, though, because the Thundurus outspeeds. It's Moltres as the last one. Wow. Did not see that coming. You could definitely still win if you're my opponent with that, despite us having a 4-2 lead. But I think we can just go out into Incineroar here. Oh, I'm actually really worried. If they nasty plot, Moltres could actually sweep through us. Oh, wow. Not Hydro Pumping there might have actually cost me then. Both today and yesterday, I kept going for the safer play with Palkia. I should have considered Eerie Impulse, but dang. Oh, but if you nasty plot, I can just wild. I'm going to crunch Raichu here for sure. And I think I'm going to switch Palkia out into Incin. Yeah. I think if you're my opponent, you have to max Moltres and KO the Thundurus right now. But you could also opt for Nasty Plot. But if you Nasty Plot, then I have a 4-1 lead. And I'm faster with the Zapdos, so then I can just Wild Charge next turn. And it's a +1 Wild Charge. But this definitely got scarier. Eerie Impulse is a really good move, honestly. And I actually think like you really should be considering it right now in the format. Like Raichu, Aleki, Porygon are all really good Eerie Impulse users. But they max, which is good. Wait, what if they maxed Raichu? That would be sick. No, they didn't. Okay. I don't think Moltres is enough fire power at this point. And we still have Tailwind in the end game, so I think we're good. But really didn't expect Moltres to come out here, given that we had Thundurus. But it makes sense. I think my opponent probably wanted it, especially for the Metagross potentially. But this Raichu was a nuisance. This is why Raichu can be a good partner on teams like this. They're going to go for Airstream. That means you're actually not even KOing Thundurus because of AV. Yeah. And we're faster, so now we're in really good shape. I guess my only fear is activating a weakness policy here. Oh, but they confirm that they're Life Orb. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, the game's over now, I think, as long as we don't throw. We have such an early lead, and we can just Parting Shot into Moltres and Wild Charge. Fly was actually a really interesting option here. We're so far ahead, I don't think it actually makes a difference either way. But we can miss Fly, so let's just Wild Charge. Actually, okay, they end up forfeiting. I actually think theoretically they still could have won that, so they shouldn't have given up yet. Maybe after this next turn, the game would be 100% decided, but I could always throw the game from that position. And I was thinking, no, actually, I mean, the reason why is because I could actually miss all of my attacks. I can miss Hydro Pump with Palkia, Spatial Ren with Palkia, and Air Slash with Tornadus. So I was thinking that my opponent definitely had some comeback potential there. But in the end, we were able to eke it out. I mean, I think we won the games today just because we built really, really monumentous leads. And today's episode should highlight why Thundurus and Metagross are still top-tier Pokemon in Series 8, right? We didn't bring Palkia. I mean, we brought Palkia into all the games. And once again, Palkia didn't come out in most of the games, but it was still a really critical member, just having it in team preview. Because, once again, as soon as my opponent sees my team, I think the number one thing people typically focus on in Team Preview and Series 8 is, oh, what's my opponent's restricted Pokemon? How do I beat said restricted Pokemon? So they have to bring answers to it, but once again, this is where Thundurus and Metagross come in handy because they can beat the answers to Palkia. Palkia was actually really important in that last game just as a switch and into that Water Spout as well. I think one reason why Palkia is really cool is because it does match up really well into Kyogre and Groudon. It's just so that in the, 8 games we played, we barely ran into any of those, which is kind of surprising just because Kyogre and Groudon are probably 2 of the most common restricted Pokemon after, like, Zacian. I feel like the most common ones I expect to see are Zacian, Kyogre, Groudon, both of the Calyrex forms, and maybe Yveltal. Those are just, like, it feels like the most meta standard / like generally strongest options. So we ran into a lot of Zacian. That's not surprising. Not as much Kyogre and Groudon, but yeah. I think it's great to have an episode like this because I think when people think of Series 8, they think, oh, it's just your restricted Pokemon and how, it's just matchup roulette. But the reality is if you can support the restricted Pokemon in the team building process, then it's not just like you'll auto lose into certain matchups, right? Because we went up against a lot of Pokemon that Palkia doesn't like going up against. A lot of Zacians, a lot of Finis, for example. And that's why there's a Thundurus and a Metagross on this team. But yeah, AV Thundurus and Weakness Policy Metagross, I mean, those have been around for a while now. They're not anything surprising, but you can see how effective they still are even in a format like Series 8. So yeah. That is going to be it for this one. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.